So what are we celebrating today? The Super Bowl of Tosley. Before the Super Bowl. By the way, before I start with the kids, if you're not listening to me, please be looking at this insert. If you know you're going to come or think you're going to come, please fill it out and slide it under the door of the office so we have it. Yes, today is the Super Bowl Sunday. And yes, we are going to show the Super Bowl later today. Don't record that part, or else we'll get in trouble for saying Super Bowl, apparently. Okay, today is also Godparent Sunday, right? How many of you asked your godparents to come today? Can I see your hands? How many of your godparents were able to come today? Okay. How many of you know who your godparents are? Okay. So why didn't you call them? You didn't know they were... Well, we sent the letters to somebody, but maybe it got lost in the mail. That darn post office. Right? You aren't laughing at me today. Okay. So, why do we have godparents? Do any of you know? Anyone want to explain why we have godparents? Seraphim. To baptize you. Well, you're only baptized once, so why do you need them the rest of your life? What do you think? They sort of act as a person who can help you and guide you through life. Very good. So, maybe they're present at the beginning of your life in the church, but also throughout the whole course of it. Would that make sense? Since they're your godparent as opposed to your normal parent, so they have that special role. So here's the practical question. What do we do about that? Call them once a year and say, would you come to church with me at St. George so we can receive communion together? That's a good start. Don't get me wrong. But I have a suggestion for you. A request, an assignment, like school. Except not exactly. We have a beautiful church, right? And in this beautiful church, there are many things. The chandeliers, the icons, the pulpit, the other icon, the thing with the bread on it, the candles, the eagles on the carpet, the priest's vestments with strange designs on them, right? All sorts of interesting things are going on in the church. Do you know what all of them mean? Riley, do you know? You know some of them, right? Now, who do you think might know a little bit more than you? Oh, me? Yeah, well, I should hope so. But who else? Your godparents. Now, also your parents, but your godparents too. So, here's what I suggest, because I think there's a secret you're not telling me. How do you usually feel when you're in church? Cristo. Happy. Well, that's not a bad secret. Eves, how do you usually feel in church? You can be honest. That's good. What I was looking for was what he said. I'm glad that you feel that way, but he said a little bit bored. Right? What were you going to say? A little bit more protected. That's a good way to feel too. So, well, I'm happy. You all like to come to church. Thank God. But if you're bored, if you start thinking about what's going to be on TV later on today, or anything else, take the chance to look around. And you don't have to look forever, but find something that doesn't quite make sense to you. Something that you don't know the whole story about. Can you all do that right now? Find something? Find something. Take 5 seconds, look around the church and find something you don't know the whole story about. You're not looking. Hello? Look around. All right, who has something? Okay, who has something? Let me see a hand maybe in the back over here. What do you see that you don't know the whole story about? The white tank, the baptistry, the Colin-Vitra. Well, that's where you're baptized. Were you baptized there? Was he baptized in that Colin-Vitra or in Greece? Okay, so you wouldn't remember that, so it's a fair question. When else would you have seen it? That's the baptistry. That's where you came into the church. That's where you met your godparent. So, good question. I couldn't have asked for a better one. We can explain more about that later. But here's my point. You all have questions, and you can ask them of me. I like questions. Usually I know the answer. If I don't, I'll read a book or several, or ask someone else. But if every Sunday you found a question in the church, and then you asked your godparent about it, if you made it a Sunday afternoon tradition, if your godparent is far away, to call them and say, Yasu Nuno, how are you Nuno? How are you Nuna? I had a question in church. I wondered if you could answer for me. And then you put them on the spot, and maybe they say, let me look that up, and then they come and ask me, or they look on Wikipedia, or they read a book too. But that's okay. The point is, when you do that, what are you laughing about? Okay, your Nuna wouldn't read a book or wouldn't look on Wikipedia. I don't know who your Nuna is, so why are you laughing? Okay. So, the point is, if you do that, what are you doing week after week after week? You're asking questions, you're learning, but you're doing something else. You're understanding, but what do you think? You're building a... Are you reading my mind? You're building a holy relationship. You're making a living reality of a promise that was made at the baptismal font when you were just a baby. You're turning to your godparent and asking them to help you in your Christian life. And even if your godparent lives a long way away, I know very few people who don't have one of these anymore, right? It's easy enough. You pick up the phone, you give them a ring, you ask your parents to use the phone. Don't make a long-distance phone call without asking your parents. Right? Wait a minute. It's 2014. Do we even know what long distance is anymore? Everyone has cell phone. Okay. So, see, I'm already dating myself. Point is, it's Godparent Sunday. Yes, it's also Super Bowl Sunday. Hopefully your Nuno or your Nuna likes football if they're not here, so you can call them and ask which team they're rooting for, and ask them the question you came up with in church. Tell them your priest made you do it. Throw me under the bus by all means, but talk to them today. Thank them for what they do in your lives, and ask them to do a little bit more, because that's what they're there for. Kala? Now, you know the story with these. These you're going to bring to your Nuno or Nuna if you're going to have access to them before the flower dies. Right? If you're not going to see your godparent before the flower would die, don't take a flower. But I think we have plenty. So, if you like, you can take one for your mother, though. Sorry. And that is that. Let's go for Sunday school. Who has the bread today? It's in the basket, where I always look for it and it never is. You finally put it there. Oh boy.